teaching AI to terraform so we don't have to. Hey, everybody. There we go. All right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to V Brown Bag. Hello, everybody. Sam McGeown, how are you doing today, good sir?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Do we have to disclose our relationship?
Well, we'll get to that. The first thing that we're going to disclose is we are.
Did you guys make it official?
Yes.
Yeah.
we are Wait a minute. No.
What a handsome pair y'all make.
Okay. So we are on a new streaming platform. So this could potentially go horribly awry. We're using Restream right now. We're testing out some new things, and so this is brand new technology. We've been clicking on all the knobs and widgets. We've potentially broken some things. We don't know yet. We'll find out as we go. But we'll figure this out. So today we have Sam McGeown from HashiCorp. Full disclosure, Sam works at HashiCorp as well, to talk about Terraform, AI, MCP servers, all of the things. But before we get into it, Damien, good day to you, sir. We are here on a daytime shift because Sam is in the UK. So
yes,
how are you doing with daylight streaming through your windows?
Actually, I don't, because I have blackout curtains and my wife hates it because I live in a cave. But she's like, open the windows. I'm like, I can't see the windows past my prompter and monitor anyway, so what's the point? I'm good. I'm actually taking a spot of tea because it's not after 5 o'clock and my usual adult beverage is not in my hand. So
speaking of UK beverages, nice, well done.
A little bit of English breakfast and Earl Grey because I like to do 2 tea bags because why not?
Controversial.
It is daytime, so I'm not going to make any teabag comments or anything.
Yeah, I was trying to run through that in my head, but I guess I haven't had enough caffeine. I'm not as quick on my feet. But yeah, I'm doing really well. I want to apologize to Sam for the 5 minutes of clown show when I initially joined, trying to get my audio and camera working.
Oh, look at this. This is nice.
It's not any different to whenever I join a new Zoom or Teams or whatever platform. And
right on.
Works,
Right on. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm also on a hardwired connection today, Chris. So I'm curious if my connection is going to be a little bit better instead of doing the Wi-Fi thing. So yeah,
nice. I'm also obviously currently playing with all of the widgets in the show as well. So you can see that I'm having a blast with the new interface. Oh, and I think I've lost certain things. Oh hell! Oh no, they're back. Okay, here we go.
So Sam, while Chris is entertaining himself, and before we get started, where can folks find you on social media if you would like them to?
Well, I mean, I still have an account on the artist formerly known as Twitter, so I do occasionally check that, or LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I don't really use many other social platforms, to be honest.
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm just disillusioned and grumpy with the world, and but hey, LinkedIn, we're all professionals there, right?
Yeah. We proudly dead name Twitter because that's only appropriate.
Yes, exactly. That's how we roll.
Yeah, I actually deleted my Twitter account that I had for like 15 years. I deleted it a few months ago, and Chris reminded me I should probably like undo that and just squat on my handle. But I figure if there's a 6-foot dad out there that's just being atypically ugly, it's probably not me. Okay, because I don't do that.
Counterpoint. No, Ryan. I won't even go there.
It depends on the type of ugliness it's doing. If it's for freedom and equality and democracy, then yes.
Oh, you could get Antifa 6-foot dad instead. Okay, never mind. You know what?
Oh my goodness.
We have MCP servers and AI to talk about. The doom of humanity. Yes, here we go. Skynet. Sam, you are going to be talking at AI Dev Days, and so this is kind of like a primer for that to get us in the mood for it. I am also curious and I want to get my stuff set up. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the talk? That way we can like line up all the questions that I'm sure everybody will have.
Yeah, great. So, I mean, for me personally, I love a more interactive conversation. Even when I'm up on a stage, I prefer to
100%.
have that conversation back and forth. So you please feel free to kind of interrupt me, especially if I'm not making any sense or it's gibberish. Just go.
Do you want to share
me
your
out
screen again? I believe that I killed it last time and did
Yeah,
not.
let me see if I can figure this out.
Oh, we lost Damien.
Here we go.
Oh, he's back.
Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. I was trying to be discreet with blowing my nose.
Here we go. Okay, hold on. Let's move this over here. Oh, and there's our heads. Amazing.
Look at that.
Okay.
You can see my screen, and it's even got my name on it. Yeah, as you mentioned, teaching AI to Terraform so you don't have to, or probably more accurately, teaching AI to Terraform so you can do more interesting things, and rather than just generating your boilerplate code. I think it would be hard pressed this day and age to find someone who hasn't started using some form of LLM, some form of AI, unless maybe your grandmother or someone that's working in IT and doesn't use it. But it's the hot topic these days, isn't it? And we obviously at HashiCorp we have we're leaning into this, and I think last week you had Gotham on, our colleague, talking about his kind of how his approach to AI, and he's an excellent guy and a very, very good person to ask questions around all this. I have to credit most of my learning around that, asking him questions and then breaking things and then asking him some more questions and that sort of thing. So I'm learning this stuff as I go along too. So I think I'm going to drag you along some of my kind of learning journey today, and yeah, as long as I'm one step ahead of everyone else on the call, it'll be fine.
Amazing.
So yeah, you can see my face on there and there. I'm a developer advocate, obviously, at HashiCorp. I work for Chris. He's my boss.
No, you don't. We work as a team.
And he's told me to tell you that he's a very good boss, and I really enjoy to work for him.
Way to go, Sam. You got to keep that direct deposit rolling, man.
Yeah.
Annual reviews are done. What are you doing? This is oh my gosh.
So okay, having listened to Gotham's talk, I think it was last week on MCP servers, he is far more eloquent and far better at describing the actual science behind MCP servers, and he even used the quote that's on here, thinking of MCP as a USB-C for AI applications. So I wanted to give a little bit of an overview, just in case people haven't watched that one. I mean, where have we been? Go back and watch Gotham's talk because it was good. And yeah, but so what are MCP servers? If you're coming at this completely kind of unexperienced, an MCP server effectively is a way of plugging other stuff into your large language model. So your ChatGPT or your Claude or whatever it is, your flavor that you like to use to ask questions of the great AI in the sky. MCP allows you to plug in all sorts of other systems and provide information into it. So it's effectively a protocol that was developed by Anthropic and then open sourced, and it provides you with like this structured way of accessing tools and resources and information about sort of third-party systems. So this is tricky. I'm running out of screen space. That's unusual. So you can kind of think of it like middleware for AI. It's as AI models become more capable, you obviously don't want to well, you don't want to. You might want to go through the process of training your own models, or getting into RAG, so retrieval augmented generation. But for the common person, such as myself, that is a lot of work, and I don't have the GPUs to train a LLM, or the skills, or even probably the willingness. So what this allows me to do is plug in other systems, integrate into other systems with a standardized protocol, and the MCP server hosts these tools. So if we look at like the kind of structure of the MCP server, you have your MCP host, which is, think of it as your client. This is your kind of your Visual Studio Code or your Claude Code or whatever it is you're using to query your LLM. And that talks to your MCP server over a JSON RPC query. So it's a structured query that exposes these sort of three things. So tools, resources, and prompts. And tools are effectively like functions that AI applications can use. So you can ask it to do a specific operation, you can make an API call, you can query a database, but it's a specifically defined sort of executable function. Resources are like your data sources, and they provide you like contextual information, as it says there. So, for example, the Terraform MCP server provides you with access to the style guide, and that style guide then can be used to shape how your AI formats your code and things like that. And then there's also prompts, which are these are like your structured interactions with large language models. So the majority of things that you'll see will be exposed as tools, because it's a very, very straightforward way. You'll see a few resources. Personally, I've not used anything that has a prompt, and so I kind of start falling apart when my understanding of prompts, because it's just not something that I've been using. So once you've got this kind of MCP server running, you kind of need to understand, okay, well, how is this MCP server going to be running? Like, on where does it run? What is it? And that can be run as an executable. It can be, typically it's run as a kind of Docker container. So what you'll see, for example, when we look at the Terraform MCP server, you'll have your developer workstation, and you'll be running your IDE or running Claude Code or something like that. And there'll be a configuration that you put in there that starts your Docker container, which executes your MCP server. And then you've got communication locally over like standard IO, or you can also communicate remotely using HTTP, but it's still the same structured JSON RPC. And for our developer workstation, specifically with our Terraform MCP server now, you get access to things like querying the public registry. So you can search and get your publicly available providers and modules and various policies that are available as sort of standardized tools. I already mentioned the style guide, so that's a resource that's available, and then also you get access. There's a module development guide which you can pull down and use to, if you were developing a module, you could then use your LLM query to get the best way of developing a module. So there's those resources available, and that's kind of, anyone can get those resources. You don't need any kind of access to Terraform, so HCP Terraform or Terraform Enterprise. If you do happen to have those, you can provide an API key to your MCP server, and that lets you do a few other things. So, for example, accessing private registries. So, if your company hosts its own provider internally, or you have one on HCP Terraform, for your own kind of internal API or whatever, then you can actually pull that down and you can educate your LLM on those internal systems without having to kind of preload any information. Also, you can start doing sort of CRUD operations with things like workspaces or runs. So you can trigger runs, and you can also do things with variables. So you can create variables within your workspaces. You can create variable sets or workspace variables. So you get a little bit more of the enterprise side of things available once you've got an API key running. And that's great for an individual developer. You could have, these little Docker containers are tiny. They're running in a very small amount of memory. It's like, I think it's like 18 megabytes or something that this container is running. It's a really small bit of software, and your developer can be sitting there with that API key and authorizing as themselves. But there's also the other way of running these MCPs, or our MCP server, is you can run it as a remote service. So you could potentially run it on something like Kubernetes, and I can help you with that. I've been working on like a Helm chart that allows us to deploy our MCP server on Kubernetes as a service. And why would you want to run? I mean, it doesn't have to be on Kubernetes. It could be running as a binary on a web server somewhere. You just need to be able to access it over HTTP. Why would you want to run it on a separate platform like that? Well, you can give yourself all of the features that an enterprise platform in front of your MCP server. So, for example, you could have security in front, or you could use OAuth to authenticate with the MCP server, and then the MCP server having the API key can perform operations on your enterprise environment. You can have logging and observability on your MCP server, and it also allows you to have a very clear boundary between like your developer's workstation and the LLM that's running. You've got your kind of AI boundary, and then you have the MCP server, which provides you with an authentication boundary, and it separates out that operation from the LLM. Also, you can scale and you can have shared platforms. So, for example, you could have other developers or CI/CD tools using the MCP server. You can have other agents that are querying and using the tools that are available via that MCP server. So, really, there's two different modes of operation. One of them is local, and that's your kind of everyday developer workstation stuff. And then the other side of things is if you want to kind of scale out and have a more standardized, secured, compliance platform kind of model. Is that all making sense so far? Because you've gone quiet, even though I told you to ask questions.
Well, I mean, you were on a roll. I didn't want to interrupt. It sounded great. No, I was curious about, how this would work in correlation with, like, for lack of a better term, like air gap systems, air gap customers that wanted to do all of this in-house without reaching, people that have security concerns and, don't want their agents to be reaching out to Claude or whatever, but that answered it nicely.
Good.
And there's a question from the audience as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is from old host of the show, Jonathan Frappier. Hey, Fraps.
Hey,
much love, buddy.
Frap.
Yeah. His question is: do you find there is one model or service that tends to generate more accurate Terraform code?
Claude. Excuse me. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this as if I'm in sales or something, but I'm not selling anything. I'm just explaining. So, if you're just using your LLM and you're asking it, and it's obviously it's got access to the information it had when it was trained and the model when the model was created, and so you'll have a snapshot of a point in time, and various models will be better at writing code than others. So Claude is typically what I would find the most accurate. But if you plug in an MCP server to these models, what you get is access to the latest documentation, the latest providers, the style guides, and so you'll find you get an almost a much more consistent across different models. And I've been playing with this like across different models and different platforms, and using Claude and using Copilot and various things. And what the MCP server does is it gives you a consistent output, or a more consistent output that is more accurate, more up to date, and generally better. So it's a good question. I would say use the one, you can use the one that you prefer if you're using MCP server.
To dovetail into that question, friend of the show, Matthew Bonig, asks, security concerns. Are there any security concerns about running some random MCP server locally that is going to have a lot of access? Oh, and I can show them too. There we go. Oh, nice. Look at that.
Look at that. Shiny new toys. So the MCP server will only have access that you provide via your API keys. So if you are generating an API key that's got God mode on your Terraform environment, that is obviously a security concern that you might have, because you're giving it those permissions. You could run the MCP server with read only to a specific workspace within a specific HCP Terraform account, and that MCP server will only be able to access obviously the publicly available registries and style guides and module development, and then what you've allowed it access to via your API key. So it's one of the arguments actually for using an MCP server as a service, like hosted externally, and using the HTTP access, because it allows you to very specifically control what access that MCP server has, rather than having a developer put their own key in, or an end user.
Yeah, those stinky developers. Oh, wait. Sorry, it's a Bonig is a friend and a developer, so I had to throw that in there.
I'm using a developer there interchangeably with a user or operator or someone who wants to do something on the system. So I've used developer because, well, I'm a developer advocate.
Awesome.
Cool. Okay, so I think that then brings me to the end of my slides, because I always prefer to learn by doing than by listening to someone prattle on about their slides. So I literally have demo as my next slide, and we haven't practiced this on the new system, so I'm gonna. I don't know. Do you want to remove my screen share so I can then reshare?
Whichever way you want to do it. We're figuring this out together as we go. So if you want to remove it, or if you want to re-add it, or however you want to do it. Drag to move. Can I move this around? Oh, no, I can't.
So let me see, screen share. Still, I might have to stop sharing in order to.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, there we go.
There it goes. Oh, and it defaulted back to that one. Nice. Can I move heads around? I can. No, I can't. There we go. I can do that. Cool. All right. Add this to the scene, and there we go. All right. Cool. I'm going to change it now. So can we do that? Oh, look at that. Look at all of us all cute in the corner. Can I just shrink that down a little bit further? I can.
Oh, it's like magic.
Little round heads. Boop.
You're enjoying the buttons too much, right?
Yeah. We were so locked in with StreamYard, there was only so much we could do. So this customization really is cool.
Boop.
Okay, Chris.
Okay, I'll stop. All right, I'm done.
You're distracting me now.
Apologies.
Okay, so I have here a Visual Studio Code. I've done most of the demo stuff in VS Code, and I can show you with Claude as well in a minute, but we'll start off with just the basics of getting started. So obviously I have Copilot set up here on the right hand side. I have in agent mode, and that allows it to use tools that are available. And then I'm actually sat here. If we look here, I've got nothing in this folder, so I'm just in a folder called Terraform MCP demo. You can't see it in when I list because we got two folders. So there's a .github, which we'll be using to add instructions as you would for any kind of LLM. So instructions on how you want it to operate, basically like you're preloading the context of, you might say, I want you to talk like a pirate, and it would talk like a pirate. Okay, it's the instructions it needs to use as part of that, and that comes as a Copilot instructions. None of that is specific to the Terraform. That's just general kind of using. And I here am using Claude Sonnet as part of my GitHub Copilot account. That's because, as I mentioned before, Claude is generally a more robust for code generation in my experience. And then when we want to set up the MCP server, we create this .vs code, or you can do it as a configuration for your entire VS Code. This is a workspace configuration, so within the specific workspace. And the reason I do that is because if I'm doing a repository that's got just my Terraform code in it, I'm happy for there to be a Terraform MCP server running and available in there. But maybe if I'm doing Golang, I probably want a different MCP server to be available. So for this, I tend to create this .vs code and then create an mcp.json file. And within there, we configure, and there's a whole bunch commented out because I wanted to show a few things, but we configure these servers, and we tell it how to execute our MCP server. So I'm going to use the Docker container, or rather, I'm going to use the container. We're going to run it through Docker and Podman and other things, but you can also do it as, you can download a binary and run that as an executable. You can also run the source code if you really want to. It's basically about how you configure the arguments. So you're configuring a command and the arguments to that command. In this case, we're going to use the Docker command and then run arguments against that. And that's how we're running our MCP server. So if I uncomment this for a second, so this is running the Terraform server. So HashiCorp Terraform MCP server latest with no arguments. So we're not providing, at the moment, we're not providing any environment variables or anything like that. And so that was that first mode where it by default will access the publicly available repositories and the style guide and things like that. Those are resources that are available publicly for anyone. You don't need to have HCP or Terraform Enterprise. You can just run. And what happened is when you save that MCP, you can see there's a little start there and a little menu kind of appears. Incidentally, you can literally hit add server and it will run you through a little wizard basically to add MCP servers, or you can configure it as JSON like I have here. So I've called it Terraform Docker just because I'm running Terraform MCP in Docker. We're using the type standard IO, so we're going to use the standard IO from the Docker container. The command we're using is Docker, like you would Docker run. And then the arguments to our Docker are run interactively. So we want the container to be running and we want to be able to put input to it and receive responses from it. --rm, so remove it when we stop, so you don't get a whole bunch of them left over on your system. And then it's the name of the container. So that could be latest or it could be version 0.33, I think is the latest version. So we have this configuration, and if we want to make that available, we can literally start the container, and you can actually go and look at the output of that. He says, you've got to filter it for the thing, but you'll see that the server started. It's literally the output of the container, and it's saying that there's no Terraform token provided, which is what, we're running it without that, so it's going to just run with that. And you can see that there are 9 tools discovered, and then we can actually go and browse, for example, the resources. So we can see that Terraform module development guide or the style guide. Those resources are available to us. We should also be able to see which tools are available, he says. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, let's ask Terraform, let's ask what tools are available.
Oh, let me move our heads over there. There we go.
Oh yeah, that'll help. There's more dead space on that side. So what tools are available on the Terraform Docker MCP server? So you see here it's saying it's using one reference. Well, it's loaded the information that's in my file. There we go. So we can see it's read the configuration, and it's looking at these specific tools that are available. It's also telling us that there are other ones available if you're require it. So if you've got an enterprise or HCP Terraform token, your API key. So you've got publicly available tools, which are always available. So like get the latest provider version, get provider capabilities. And then if we want to do that, we can actually say, well, what is the latest AWS provider version? And it'll go out, and you can actually see here. So you can auto allow this, but I've kind of paused, let it pause so that we can actually see what it's doing. So it's going to use the tool to fetch the latest provider version. So we're allowing it to do that. And you can see here it's actually telling you it's used the Terraform Docker MCP server, and it's gone out and get that. Now that isn't entirely that impressive, because you could actually say to Claude or whatever you're using, find me the latest version, and it would go out. It would make some web queries if it's allowed to do that and do it. That's fine. But if you, for example, just use Claude and you just say to it, create me a new module to create landing zones for AWS, GCP, and Azure, and it needs to have a Bastion host in it and a public and private network. And by default, you won't get version 6.2.80. It will probably like version 5 or something like that. And which may work or may not work. It won't necessarily be the latest version unless you really explicitly tell it which versions to use. When you have the MCP server, you can include in your instructions, in your Copilot instructions, you can tell it, I want to always use the latest versions in the private registries for versions, compatibility, best practice. So you're automatically able to use those versions. Before we do any more, we can do exactly the same thing. If you're not a Docker user, you could do exactly the same thing with, for example, Podman. And so there's a Terraform Podman configuration there. Now in this one, I'm going to say I've got a Terraform enterprise token, and we can then use that. So if I then save that configuration and I actually start the Terraform Podman, it's going to prompt me for an API token. Now, I've got a feeling I generated a token for an hour, and it is an hour since I generated that token. So I'm just quickly going to create a token with access. Oh, don't do that. So I'm going to do this off screen because I don't really feel like sharing my access token with everybody. I know, right? I'm a bit rude, but that's so I've just generated a token that will last me an hour, and I'm pasting this token in and I'm hitting enter, and you can see here it's kind of giving you a little asterisk there to say that it's running. Now I'm going to stop this one because I don't want VS Code to use this one, so I'm going to get rid of that for a second. And then I'm going to have a look. And so you can instantly see I've got 34 tools available here rather than the 9 that we had before. So I've got more access. And if I show the output here, it'll say session has a valid TFE client, or rather, but it's a HCP Terraform key. And so now we can use those tools that are maybe not available without it. So we can say what workspaces are available to me, and it will start looking, it'll have a little think, it will query using the list workspaces tool, and any second now, there you go. So it's found that I have just one workspace available to me in this environment. Oh no, 3 workspaces. So we've got main, bootstrap, and MCP demo.
Oh, that's the avocado. Never mind. I was like,
No,
those names look familiar. Wait a minute.
It's the copy. It's the copy of that environment that I made when we were trying to fix it.
Oh, I got you. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I do have a fast question from the audience.
Yes.
Potentially fast. How much effort goes into maintaining the MCP server and its data sources versus writing clear and concise documentation?
So the answer is you need the clear and concise documentation to be available anyway, and you tell the MCP server where that documentation is, and so it's using the documentation that's available to us. What the MCP server is doing that kind of plugging in and routing and telling it, if you want to find out about this, go here. If you want to find out about that, go there. So the style guide, for example, if you Google it, you'll find that the style guide is available on the HashiCorp website. It's not duplicating that; it's using that same style guide. So the extra effort is basically about plumbing in and telling it how to talk to the registry and things like that.
Gotcha. I guess another completely unfair question to ask, because it only came out yesterday. Anton Babenko, one of our he writes a lot of the Terraform modules. He recently released a Claude skill for writing Terraform. Is there any advantage to having both an MCP server and a Claude skill like that specifically for Terraform? And again, the question literally popped in my head. He only did it like 2 days ago. I do not have expected to. This is not a test. I'm just curious. Do you have any opinions on the matter?
I guess the skill that's been written, it depends what it's using as its source of truth. Like, how is it incorporating in the latest provider models and latest documentation and the latest star guide and all that sort of stuff, or is it a point in time that someone else is maintaining? I think
Gotcha.
the MCP server, you're telling it, this is how you find out this information. This is the source of truth for Terraform providers. You go to this provider registry. It also the other side of it is it obviously also giving you access to your own private providers or your workspaces and that sort of thing. Excuse me. So I have zero knowledge of the skill that's been written, but I would say it depends on the sources that it's using.
Gotcha. And like I said, not a trick question. I was just curious.
Yeah. So there was also another question around token usage. Obviously, the more contextual information and the more the greater the context that you're using, the more tokens you're going to be using with each query. And so MCP servers are deliberately optimized to give you the information in as small a package as possible. So using as few tokens as possible. I would say probably badly written MCP servers certainly will bloat your token usage. I mean, as far as my understanding, I haven't written an MCP server, and I don't pertain, like, I don't purport to be an expert at writing the code for an MCP server, but I do have a lot of confidence in Gotham's team and the guys that are actually creating these MCP servers. And I've not noticed, I mean, I've been using it quite heavily for the last few months, and I've not noticed it specifically bloating token usage for me. So hopefully, Mike, that answers your question there as well. Which, yeah, hopefully not.
Was that a Mike the Man question? Hey, Mike, how's it going, buddy?
Was.
Yeah, he's another friend of the show.
Is that Mike Fiedler?
That is Mike Fiedler. Yes.
Hey, right on. What's up, PI?
Okay. Where to next? Okay, so I've shown you. So we've run it in Docker. We've run it in Podman. I mean, I've also written it for running it as using the Apple container commands. So Apple's kind of containerization command line stuff. I'm literally only changing the name of the executable, so Podman or Docker, or in this case, container. We can also this is the configuration for the MCP server that's currently running on my Raspberry Pi Kubernetes cluster in the corner of my office over there, and that literally is you're configuring a URL that's then going to access, and the only difference being the type. There's no input for the token, for example. That's all configured on the Docker or the container that's running in Kubernetes. And in this case, I've got an SSL certificate in front of it, and it's going through an ingress, and it uses my labs OAuth to authorize applications, and so there's a callback and all that sort of jazz to authenticate against that. But that is literally the only configuration that I'm putting in there using that provider. And so that would be the model where you're providing other services around the MCP server as a service. So that is mostly the configuration side of things. What should we do next? Let's have a quick look. So I also promised that we'd look at it in Claude. So rather than resharing Claude desktop, I'm going to just run Claude here. And then the way that I configured it with Claude, I followed some instructions to create a .claude folder and then an MCP configuration within that, similarly to what I've done in this workspace. But I found I couldn't really get that to work. It wouldn't start, and Claude itself tried to troubleshoot itself, and I got onto an endless loop of trying to troubleshoot. And I thought, we'll do it the easier way. So I did the command /MCP in Claude, and then you can add those configurations in. So it'll say I haven't got any. So it's added this configuration here. within this configuration file, it's got my Terraform configuration, and then you can see that it's exactly the same. If you could see the JSON is exactly the same. It's using Docker. It's saying run that MCP server. And we can do similar sort of things like view the tools that are available, and it's mangled the outlet. So we got tools to get latest module version, provider version. It's a little bit messy though. And so on. And then also, if you provided the key, you'd get additional information with that. But that also is relatively straightforward to set up to get it working in Claude Code. Okay.
Nice.
So let's do something a little bit more fun, because let's see it actually write some code, because that's what I did promise. So I mentioned before wanting to create a landing zone. So let's create some, and throw out some ideas as well for like things you want in each landing zone. Create a
two-tier application with multiple availability zones. Or is that too much?
Say that again.
I was going to say a two-tier application with public and private availability, multiple public and private availability zones.
Okay, so let's create a Terraform module for creating landing zones in AWS, Azure.
Oh, wow. Nice. We're going to go across the board.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we're all multi-cloud these days, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Each landing zone should have a Bastion host. What was your part?
A two-tier application, one in public, one in private. That might be a little bit too much.
Nah, that's fine.
For a short demo.
Two-tier application with one server in public networks and one in private. We'll see how this goes. Any other requirements?
I mean, it should know that it needs an IGW, so we're not going to say that out loud. See if it figures it out.
See if it figures it out. Yeah. Just for fun, I am going to also tell it you should also talk like a pirate.
Yar!
It's my favorite way of showing that the Copilot instructions are being read and used. So, using one reference, that's our
ahoy mateys.
And so it's thinking, and it's going to go out, and it's charting a course for creating a fine multi-cloud landing zone module.
This be a grand adventure.
So it's going like proven tool results. That's gone and got the AWS, Azure, and GCP latest provider versions. And it's going to go through its to-dos and everything, and it's going to take a little bit longer than when I ran it without the complexity thrown in there. But
I was going to say, you threw in all three clouds, so this is going to take a hot second.
Well, I mean, it didn't actually take that long when I ran it earlier, so I thought maybe we can add a little bit in.
Nice.
It's having a little think.
While it's doing its thinking, let's take a look at the questions. For the MCP server, does the prompt need to be that specific, or can you generalize and say secure, follow good practices or something like that?
Yeah. So if we have a look in my Copilot instructions here.
It's funny because I didn't think the prompt was that specific.
Yeah, in here we're saying, generate accurate, compliant, up-to-date code compliant using the Terraform MCP server. So we're giving it like specific commands here, follow security best practices and organizational policies. You could tell it to like split everything into as many different files, little different unit files as possible, for example, or make it as compact as possible, depending on like the style that you use within your organization. So this is where you kind of give it this is my how I want you to work. How are we doing? So we're creating obviously variables and outputs and starting to build out our modules. So yeah, we're going. So I was going to run it without the MCP server and then run one with the MCP server so we can we can compare it. But I think it would have taken a while. To do both those.
We're kind of running up on time too. So yeah, we'll run an init and a plan and a validate and see if we can. I don't think we can do an apply. That's probably going to take a little bit longer. Well, you know what? Let's see how far we get. It'd be fun to see if this thing actually blows it out to all 3 different clouds on the first go.
Yeah, I think it might take a little while to get all the credentials in place doing that. What I will do is so we're obviously creating a whole bunch of variables, and when we tracked what workspaces were available, we should have one that says. I'll just ask it again in a sec. But what we'll create we'll ask it to create variables for this module, deployment of this module in my MCP workspace, and then hopefully that will show you how. Because that's the other thing is you don't have to go through and click like, oh, I need to create this variable and this variable and this variable. You can ask it to do it for you. That's one of the kind of benefits of having those CRUD operations on variables available, is that the LLM will just go out and create them for you if you ask it to.
Gotcha.
Oh, we definitely made it think harder, for sure. So which models work better with MCP servers, Sonnet versus Opus? I would say so. There's another question from Mike asking about which model works better with MCP servers. So I think it probably goes back to complexity there. So, for example, Sonnet, as far as I understand it, Sonnet is going to be quicker. It's going to use less tokens. Opus is going to think about it a bit more, and Opus might spend a little bit more time planning before you then get to sort of generating code. So I'd say they both get there. If you were doing something really complicated, I'd maybe look at Opus. I mean, I think when I was working the other day, I was creating some Golang stuff of using Claude, and for the initial kind of planning of the application, I gave it a whole load of instructions, and I used Opus to kind of plan out a big set of to-dos, and then I used Sonnet to actually implement those to-dos, because the token usage was. As you know, I tend to use up my available tokens too quickly and then complain about it on Slack. Yeah.
Damien, are you back?
Yeah, I've been here. I'm on audio, but yeah, OBS just refuses to see my camera. So, whatever. Open source software, yeah?
Well, yeah.
Sometimes.
I think you switched microphones too.
Yeah, you sound slightly underwater.
Oh, awesome. Cool.
Oh, OBS. That's okay.
So
Right.
yeah,
Where are we?
we've created our landing zones. We've got examples. We've got a whole bunch of stuff. We've got a README, which gives us instructions on what we're doing. And
it created tests too. Nice.
Yeah, it looks like the tests are problematic. Oh.
It misspelled Terraform. No, I'm kidding.
That'd be embarrassing, wouldn't it? Okay, so let's see if we can do. Please list. I can't remember what it's called. The available workspaces. Oh, am I using? This is a problem when I keep switching. No, I am using the Terraform Podman with the token. So we want to. He's still talking in Pirate, which is always fun. Terraform. I've created a workspace called Terraform MCP demo. So please create variables in the workspace. Terraform MCP demo for this module. So hopefully it's going to look at the variables file. It's going to read all of the different ones, and it's going to create them as Terraform variables within, and then it's going to apply a bit of logic around which ones are sensitive and that whatnot. And then hopefully I will have to try and reshare my browser for this once it's done it.
Oh, to show it and show them showing up in the workspace.
Yeah.
Nice.
So let me open the right workspace. So because it's doing it's executing a tool, create workspace variable, it's actually asking me whether it's allowed to do that. So I'm going to allow tools from in this session. So it's just create. I'm going to have to click allow on all of them. Didn't think that through, did I? I should have done one and then allowed the method.
I figured you had some kind of trick up your sleeve that you were gonna do for that, but so I didn't say anything.
There we go. Right. So we now have. They're creating all of those variables. So I mean, I could have pre-staged this. I guess I could have.
Where's the fun in that?
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be. I was just about to make a very UK-specific TV reference, which probably wouldn't make much sense to the American audience.
I kind of want to see what'll happen if you gave it an open-ended kind of refactoring job. Example, add scene. Refactor my Terraform code to be optimized for long-term usage and management, minimizing complexity or such. Mike, we would love to, but we have exactly 1 minute left for the show. So we will have Sam back on again. Well, we can go a little bit longer, but so we've already been at an hour. Go ahead.
So here we go. These are the variables that it's just been created. I promise I didn't create them before. These are all the ones. These are all the ones that we've just asked it to create in the workspace. If I click back, it's still asking me to configure variables. So you can see I haven't actually configured any. And then when we go to variables, it's created them.
Fully populated.
Yeah, and so we are at time. So I won't. I mean, I could keep on talking about this for ages because it's fascinating and you can do so much cool stuff. But
isn't it?
Hopefully it gives you like a good overview of how you get started and working with it, and get everything
very cool
up and running, and you can do loads with it. So,
well, it's so funny. Damien, you look fantastic today.
Yeah. I think it actually might be Windows. It can't even find my mic now. So yeah, who the heck knows? I'll just end the initial voyage on Restream for me with a sad trombone sound.
Hold on. I have it. Let me get it out. Oh, where is it? Where'd it go? There it is. Here we go.
Yes, yes, yes. Very fitting.
You're welcome. Sam, thank you for coming on. Super appreciate it. If folks want to get started with the Terraform MCP server, what's the fastest, easiest way for them to get their feet wet?
So just go to the Terraform docs. There's a section there for the MCP server. I mean, if you look at it, it says beta. So be aware it is obviously early software, but that means it's adding more and more tools every time I load it. So
right.
Yeah, you can get the instruction from there.
Cool. All right. Well, you heard it, folks. Go check it out on the tutorial website. And Sam, thanks for coming on. And we will see you again next week. I don't have the sessions in front of me right now, so I can't say who's talking next week, but we'll see you all next week. Sam, thanks.